So I was a single dad for a long time. Who wants a guy with 5 kids, you know? And then I met Lynn.
Somebody did.
And then I met Lynn. I thought, oh, good, she's crazy. Yeah, she wasn't afraid of my 5, but I was afraid of her 3. That took a long time, though. I mean, I didn't date. I did date about a year and a half after I got a divorce, too soon, way too soon. That didn't work out. And then I didn't date Lynn for another 3 years after that. So I was a single dad for a pretty long time.
Then going to that, going to meet Lynn, yeah.
Yeah, it's a great story, Scott.
Well,
yeah, well, I probably won't be able to tell it all, but we'll sit down over dinner sometime.
Well, I'll hear the long. You have a short story now.
Well, you'll hear Lynn's story, and in that meeting anyway. I'll try to give it to you. Sorry about that. All right, so one of the things I did when we were divorced is I got involved. This is going to sound like an oxymoron, but my Christian divorce lawyer, is a guy that we still utilize in our church for some legal advice on occasion. He's an elder, was at Twin Oaks, and only helped people, Christians primarily, who were divorced biblically, you know, whether the unbelieving spouse left or there was adultery. And so he was my divorce lawyer. He was Lynn's divorce lawyer, unbeknownst to us. He puts her in a small group in an organization called Fresh Start, which I was a part of. Do you know John Callan? John? Do you know John? You know John. John Callan, John and Carol. They were left for a long time. He was actually an elder at our church for 20 years, but had to leave because his wife had health issues. They're now back and serving faithfully. But
I think I know who they are.
Yeah.
Yes.
So John Callan was a part of that organization. We became fast friends once I heard his story. And I joined that organization, Fresh Start. They met every 6
I know who he is. It just took a second. Yeah. John. I don't call my last name, so it just all of a sudden clicked. I know exactly who it is.
Yeah. Papa Smurf, right? He's got the
almost like a Santa Claus. Yeah, and he always kind of sits in the back because I think the music is kind of loud for them.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Exactly. Two of our, I would say, two of our best friends. They're just wonderful, wonderful people. But John was teaching at this Fresh Start. I walk in, I'm like, who is he? What does he know? He knows nothing. His story was identical to mine. We became fast friends. Anyway, I became involved in that. And so I was the small group leader. And our lawyer told Lynn, I want you to be in Doug's group. Not sure why he said that, but he wanted her to be in there. And this is... people can see me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Mm-hmm. All right, this was Lynn. So, if body language spoke, her body language was saying, you. She was not happy because she went through a deal where her husband left her almost bankrupt. It was bad. And so she was not happy. And that she was in my group with that body language screaming. And so that's where, and we, for that day, we found out we had a mutual acquaintance, not acquaintance for me. My aunt went to that church that she went to. She went to Twin Oaks. And so we became friends because of my aunt. And I dated her for once in a while. I would date her, and then I think, she's got 3 kids. Do I want to take on 3 more? No. And I'd break up with her. She called it the couch talk, where I'd put my hand around her and she'd go, I know it's coming. And that was the first one. And then the second one, maybe, no. Now, I'll tell you this. We never introduced our kids to that relationship. And that was advice from Fresh Start, wise advice, because your kids have already been hurt, right? You don't want to get them loving somebody that you end up breaking up with. So we took that advice. We did not do that. Third time I called her and broke up with her again. Yeah, it was bad.
You broke up with her 3 times?
Yeah, I know. Okay. Go ahead, judge me.
I just wanted everybody to know 3 times so far.
Hey, it gets much worse, Scott.
At least it's over the shoulder. No. It's a little lax.
No. Okay. The third time was much worse.
Well.
Oh, can you see red? Anyway, so the third time I wrote her a letter, and it was dated Christmas Day. And I have that letter in that phone. I found it. She had it in her little, keepsake box. Why? I don't know. And in that letter, I said to her, Lynn, you're a wonderful, godly woman. God has someone for you. It's just not me. Oh, so pompous, And she kept the letter. So I just was so afraid of taking on 3. And now the whole time, I'm thinking, I wasn't thinking, Doug, you have a woman in front of you who loves Christ, is not afraid of your 5. Who do you think is out there like her? Who's out there? And so that would play on my mind. And all I can say is, it came to a time, and I would say this was probably 90. Let's see, I asked her to marry me in 96, probably 95, late 95. I was on my bed and I felt the oppression of loneliness, which has helped me as an elder of a church. When I see people who've lost their spouse, I know I sense the feeling of loneliness. It doesn't matter that I had 5 kids, that I have lots of friends. I didn't have the companionship, and I felt utterly alone. And that was oppressive one night. And I just said, Lord, I am so lonely. And then, what's that movie, the Minion movie? Light the bulb, light the bulb. Yeah, you idiot. You've got a girl you've broken up with 3 times. I thought, Lord, I don't know. Should I call her again? She's just going to hang up. So I called her again. And I said, hey, Lynn, Doug? Yeah, listen, I was just wondering if maybe you wanted to, I don't know, catch a movie or something. And she says, okay. I'm shocked. I thought the next thing I'd hear was a phone hang up. She says, okay. I said, really? Now, what happened on that bed that night when I was feeling that oppression was I realized I was living my life by fear. I was afraid. And I came to the conclusion, I can't do that anymore. I can't live my life by fear. And so something changed in my heart and my mind. And Lynn knew it when I knocked on the door, and we ended up not going to a movie, but we had a little picnic in her living room. And when I left, now remember, I dated her 3 times prior to this and never once kissed her, not once, because I told her that if that ever happens, it means something. It's not just, and I kissed her on the way out the door, and her look was like, I said, it's okay. I mean, she called me the next day and she said, did you regret kissing me? And I said, no, I didn't. Oh, so she knew something changed, something flipped in me, and I started to pursue her for marriage. So I ended up asking her to marry me on November, on Thanksgiving. I asked her to marry me on Thanksgiving Day, 1996. And she said, just a minute. I'm on my knees with the ring, right? And she goes back to her bedroom and brings out that letter. Should I marry a false prophet? I said, very funny. Put the letter down. Yes or no? She goes, yes. And we promised our children that they would, if we moved toward marriage, and we knew we were moving toward, that no one else would know before them. And so we went to Thanksgiving service at Twin Oaks that day and couldn't tell anybody. Lynn had to take the ring off, and until that night, we had all our kids together, and we told them we're going to get married. And they showed great excitement. We know later that they weren't, that one of them particularly was not very excited, because this is kind of the nail in the coffin of the potential of his mom and dad getting together, right? So yeah, when we actually did get married, he told us much later that he was sitting in the pew going, when they asked, would you take this man to be your husband? He was going, Mom, just say no. Mom, please just say no, say no, say no. And she didn't say no. And we have a very, very warm and loving relationship today. And he's been coming to church with his kids. So, yeah, all good. Yeah, does that answer that question?
I loved it. It was great.
It's a fun story. Yeah, there's much more to it, but Lynn says it with a lot more relish. She was on the receiving end of those rejections. And but I am a very grateful man. I didn't expect to find a woman who would not only take on my 5, but also one who's handicapped. And that's a whole nother aspect to our relationship. Lynn spent a lot of one-on-one time with Jesse and got him to open up in ways I never could. We all just got frustrated trying to understand him because he can't speak very clearly. And she would really work hard to try to understand him. And then he became kind of a chatterbox. And now they have this love-hate relationship where she's always teasing him. If you ever see her in church, she'll turn to Jesse and go, shh, be quiet. Now, he's not said a word, right? And he'll hit her, and I'm like, not here, not now, They have awesome. this teasing relationship, yeah.
Hey, thanks for watching this short with us today. And if you like it, check out our full episodes on our channel and website. We'll put those in the links below. And as always, Scott,
like and subscribe, or subscribe and then like, whatever order you want, really.
Whatever order you like.
Yeah.
Thanks.